Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trap Chat Women's History Month, the new She Suite, Trap Queens Redefining Success. I am excited to be joined by my friend, a transformational HR leader, the chief consultant and founder of People Solutions Group, Nicole Roberts. She hails from Ohio. That's from a song that we learned how to learn all 50 states, but that's a different thing. I always say it like that. Nicole is also a HCI or Human Capital Institute faculty member, of Forbes HR Council member, 360 Insights Global Advisory Council member, on the board of trustees at Safe in Maine. She is the host of Amplify Your Signal podcast, a breast cancer survivor. Love it. And a mom and a pretty awesome person. I adore her, and I am so excited to be chatting with her today. Nicole, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When I got your email, I thought, oh, I cannot wait to have this conversation. So thank you for inviting me.
I love it. I love it. So let's just jump in. This is going to be a great conversation. Success. It's often defined in traditional linear terms. So your job title, your salary. How do you define and measure success? And how have your definitions evolved throughout your career journey?
It's so funny because I can remember, writing down your goals, right? And my goal was always like, and you always do goals in present tense, right? Because you're training your brain. And so I'm like, I am, insert whatever job title. I have X amount of dollars. I'm debt free. I'm, the world's best mom, all of those things. And you get to a certain point in time where it is the end justifies the mean, and you are totally bought into that culture of exhaustion and that hustling for worth. And I grew up in a household where you were rewarded for achievement. And so I was hardwired, right, to be hustling for worth for my entire career. And nothing will change that faster than not being able to do absolutely anything about being diagnosed with cancer. It did not matter how hard I worked. It did not matter what I did, or if there was nothing that I could do. And I had lost my job 9 days before I got my diagnosis. I actually recorded with you 2 hours after I got my official diagnosis.
You absolutely
my results
did.
in my chart. And I mean, success then is what? Like the strength of your friends, right? And the power of relationships and being able to give back to others. And recently, when I was with Jones, there was a manager who I could just tell was working so hard to get it right. And you're never too busy to help somebody who's trying hard to get it right, right? And just watching that manager grow and develop and just keep trying, and their team knew that they were trying, like that is success to me. Like whether he, was the most successful in terms of numbers for the year or whatever, like the team knew that they were truly trying and showing up every day to be better than you were yesterday. Like that's success. And making sure that the people that you love and that you care about know that you are trying to be the best for them. I mean, I'm a better mom. I'm a better, leader. I'm better at all those things after going through this journey.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. All right. My next question is about leadership, but mostly trust in leadership. Trust being the foundation of leadership and culture building. Can you share a pivotal moment when establishing trust completely transformed the outcome of a challenging business situation? Not the one you just mentioned.
Not the one I just mentioned. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started a new job March 9th of 2020. And the entire world changed days later. And they didn't know me. And the company was facing uncertainty. We were a essential business, so our operations didn't stop, even though certain offices, like the corporate headquarters, was sent home. But people were working in our locations, and I had to build trust very quickly and be honest, about what I knew and what I didn't know, and keeping people informed and ensuring their safety and well-being were prioritized. And people really felt heard and they felt protected. And that made all the difference, because they knew that we were moving through it together, that we were, as an executive team, meeting twice a day to make sure that we had as much information as possible to disseminate that information as soon as possible. I mean, we were getting updates minute by minute, hour by hour, and we just kept checking in with people. How are you doing? How can we help you? And I mean, it really very quickly established trust.
That's awesome. Now it's time to move on to the R. I hope people have caught on by now that we're doing TRAP, and I'm not just leaning on the song, the Trap Queen song, but yeah, I hope people get it. I hope they know what trap recruiter means, and what, you are a trap queen. So
they're going to get it.
I hope they do.
They're going to get it.
Let's move on to relationship building. You do specialize in creating people-centered cultures. Yep. What are some key strategies that you've used to build authentic relationships in the workplace that transcend networking as a transaction? And what unexpected opportunities emerge as a result?
I'd say active listening is first and foremost. It's not easy to do. I think that especially in the more and more that we all seem to have the attention span of an Etch-a-Sketch, it can be really difficult to slow down and just really listen to people. And people know when they're being managed versus being genuinely heard. People know when you're really listening and trying to understand and try to stay curious and know where they're coming from, versus listening and orchestrating your response to them while they're talking. Like, I can tell if somebody is already thinking in their head, what am I going to say in response to this? And they're not really listening and digging in. And other people can as well. Like, I don't have like clairvoyant powers. Also follow through. Like when I was sharing before about, we shared information as soon as we could. And the quickest way that you can build authentic trust with people is just say that you're going to do something and then actually do it. Like, you're just building trust little by little. It's also the quickest way to erode trust, is by saying you're going to do something and then for whatever reason you don't. And if you don't, and you don't communicate, then now they don't believe that you care about them anymore. Because if you cared about them, things happen, right? Like, life happens. But if you don't communicate for, whether you're uncomfortable with conflict or whatever your issue is, then you're not showing that respect and care for that person.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is mentorship and advocacy. When you get to a certain place in your career, it is your privilege, it is your honor to turn around and give a hand up. So are you in rooms mentioning people who aren't yet in those rooms? Are you helping other people grow? Are you creating environments where people see, hey, I could be successful in that? I've known people who wouldn't even apply to a job because they looked at either the makeup of the C-suite or the website of the company, and they said, I don't even want to apply because I can't be successful there. There's nobody that looks like me there.
Wow. That is a great segue into our next question. Many leaders do struggle with balancing accountability, which you touched on. Life happens and you didn't communicate why life happened. And now people just think you ghosted them or you betrayed their trust. in extreme times. How have you balanced accountability and empathy in a way that drives results while still honoring people's humanity? And you could just give like one specific example, one that stands out to you.
So, I mean, Brene Brown says clear is kind, right?
Okay.
And balancing accountability and empathy, like those work best together. They're not opposites. And if you care personally about somebody and you can see that they are heading down a road that is not going to make them successful, even if it's going to lead to them possibly losing their job, not having the conversation with them is you being a coward and not showing that you care personally about them.
Well, that was that was a hard pill to swallow, but thank you for your brevity. Being concise and getting straight to the point. That's one of the things I love about you. You have what we call no cut cards. Okay.
There's no time for it.
No, there isn't. Again, great segue. With so much change in the workplace, including economic shifts, layoffs, DEI rollbacks, and evolving workplace expectations, what's one piece of advice you'd give to leaders who want to take a proactive approach to talent strategy rather than waiting for a crisis to force their hand?
You can never overinvest in your people. So be people first. Have transparent communication, post your pay ranges, be transparent about that. Don't waste people's time. Provide growth opportunities. Like I mentioned before, make sure that people realize that they would be valued and accepted and wanted in the room at the company. And then plan ahead. If you wait until a crisis, that's too late. The people that were reactionary in the times of the pandemic were behind the eight ball. The people that had already been investing in their people, had been investing in their technology, those are the companies that were able to weather that storm. And if you're just waiting and prioritizing everything else first, you're going to be behind.
That is great advice. Thank you. Okay, thinking about our theme, the new she-suite. I said that without messing up. What outdated leadership practices do you believe women are uniquely positioned to transform, and why?
I think that the idea that leadership equals power and it's power over people instead of power with people is an outdated practice. And I'm liking where I'm seeing that it trending in a different direction. That command and control leadership is outdated. And women leaders are showing that collaboration and emotional intelligence and resilience create stronger, more adaptable organizations. And also, I love where I am seeing on LinkedIn, for example, where people are sharing stories about their humanity, about their vulnerability. And what's wonderful about that is that we're seeing very successful people doing this. And so they're showing, I can be that CEO, C insert your, middle initial here, that high level executive, and still be human and still share that I have a softer side, that I have a family to go home to. Paris Parker says, I am not a working mom. I'm a mom who works. And I love that, because it changes the narrative, right? It acknowledges that you can be a mom and it's not, the end all. It's not work-life balance. It is, this is just one piece of me. And look what humanity I can bring to the workplace, and I make it safe. Same with mental health and taking care of yourself. People are talking openly about that. There's not as much stigma about it. I used to have it on my calendar that I had an appointment with my therapist, and my calendar was shared. So if I'm setting the example that it's safe to take care of yourself, then hopefully others feel safe as well.
I love that. And I love how you have intentionally created safe spaces, how you have been vulnerable. I want to go back, not belabor it too much, but you mentioned that you got laid off 9 days later. You got your diagnosis 2 hours later. You were scheduled to be on Rocking Around the Recruiter Tree or whatever it was called at the time.
Whatever it was. Yeah.
Whatever it was called at the time. And I got a text message and I was ready to say, let's not do this. And you were adamant, like, no, like, I want to show up. And not only do I want to show up, I want to tell people this is what's going on. I want to stand in my bravery. And I always have admired your resilience during that time. And I am so appreciative that you did that. Because again, it gave me, and I'm sure it gave others, the power, so to speak, that shared power to say, you know what, I can do this even when I'm not feeling great, even when I don't want to. I don't have to, reduce myself. I don't have to diminish myself. And on the flip side, if I don't feel like doing it, that's okay too.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, because there are many times I'm like, I don't have the energy. Right. I don't have the bandwidth. Right. This is not going to be successful if I do this now.
Yes.
I need to do this at another time. I need some space. I need some quiet time, whatever the case may be. So the fact that you as a leader can model that, like I said, it gives other people permission, and it gives other people, it makes them feel safe that they can do it as well. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You almost made me cry too, by the way, but I'm a thug. Listen, I'm a trap queen. I'm a thug. Like, we're not doing this.
No. I cry all the time these days, but I don't know. It's something with the hormones or something. I don't know. I was on a call with somebody last week and I just started bawling and I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just crying. So we'll just work through it. Yeah.
Well, I don't want that for me.
No, if you see me doing this, you'll just know. You'll be like, oh, okay, she's about to cry. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's fine. I mean, I will sit and wait and I will allow it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for the rapid fire. This is always my favorite part of the show. I get to know a little bit more about you personally and not just the work that you do. Okay. Women's History Month themed, of course. Who is a well-known and or lesser known historical or contemporary woman who inspires you and we should learn more about?
People already know so much about her, but Viola Davis is, man. I saw her speak at Work Human 5 years ago, and she was talking, and she was sharing a story about, she was either talking to a therapist or a friend or something, and she was talking about protecting and taking care of that little girl inside her that was, when she grew up and she was poor and she was, all this. And she said, I'm just, I'm protecting her and I'm, sheltering her. And the person said to her, oh no, she made it. Look at her. Look at the life she has now. And that just stuck with me so much. I have such a personal connection with taking care of the little girl and through my upbringing. And I will digest every piece of content she puts out.
I love it. She has a great Instagram, by the way.
She does have a great Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is your favorite empowering quote from a woman that resonates with you and influenced your perspective of women's history and achievements?
Serena Williams said, I am lucky that whatever fear I have inside me, my desire to win is always stronger. And this is going to choke me up. When I was going through my battle, Diane Fennig sent me a card and it said, it was something to the effect of like not the absence of fear, like doing it afraid, doing it with fear is still doing it. And
yeah,
I just, oh man, I've got it somewhere. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. But I will never forget that, because I think that the big misconception about, layoffs and a cancer journey and all of those things, is that you're so strong and that you're not afraid. And that's not it. You are terrified at times, right? But it's also managing your mindset. And I never believed for a second that I wasn't going to make it through it. I was definitely scared at times, but I never even entertained the thought that I wasn't going to make it through it. And when I look back at the photos, and when, my daughter tells me now candidly that, there were times that she didn't share that same sentiment. It just shows you how much just that mindset really can make all the difference. I slept for days at a time and I just plain don't remember it.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that you brought up faith and fear. I grew up under the premise that faith and fear can't coexist.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I got older, I saw a quote somewhere that said, do it scared, do it with fear.
Yes.
And then the other day I saw Janet Jackson post that both fear and faith are about the unseen. Which one are you going to choose? And I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
She's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So that same faith that we have when we're like, oh, it's unseen, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I didn't, right. I never thought that fear is the other side of that coin, because we were, like I said, I always separated them completely. Like fear and faith, they're opposites. No, they're the same thing.
It was like shaming you that you didn't have enough faith if you were afraid for any one moment. Like, oh, well, do you doubt that God's going to take you through it? No, but it's going to be scary as hell in the process.
And listen, I am not so ashamed to say, sometimes me and God, I have some conversations with God that he's probably like, do you know who I am?
Yes.
I'm like,
yes. He's like, I don't need your help. I'm like, no, but look what I'm trying to do. He's like, I got you. Don't quit trying to help me. I don't need your help.
All right. That ends our service for today. Okay. If you could spend a day shadowing any woman in a different profession from your own, who would it be and what would you hope to learn from them?
Sarah Blakely, I think. Like, she's fascinating to me. Okay. And, she built an entire empire while staying grounded and true to herself. And I love how she talks about when she was growing up as a kid, that they would go around the table and talk about what they failed at that day, and it was celebrated. And I would just love to see a day in the life of her as a woman just empowered in her business.
I don't want to talk about the things I do in the day. There is a place that I am, my faith journey has not reached that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your favorite woman-led TV show or movie, and which character do you most identify with?
It's funny because we actually watched this movie over the weekend, and the movie Legally Blonde, Elle Woods,
I love it.
They have such a completely different perspective of her, right? And she just proves everybody wrong, and she brings heart to leadership, and you can be, the life of the party and fun and intelligent and, witty and all of those things. But she just, everything that you would think about her is, she just proves everybody wrong. And I just
right. I love it too. Like, one of my favorite lines is like, you got into Harvard? She's like, what? Yeah. Like it's hard?
Like it's hard? Yes.
Not a big deal. Okay, we're going to stay in this vein. What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to indulging in women's centered pop culture, whether it's a reality TV show, a book, binge-worthy series, a movie, self-care, recreational activity, etc.?
So it's kind of a combo because it is a self-care thing. I have always gotten FabFitFun boxes. I've been getting them for years. And so every quarter I get a new box. And I always get the package that has like the sheet masks in it. And for whatever reason, I just amassed this collection of them. Like I got them, but I wasn't using them. Like, I don't know if I was like saving it for a special day or what. And so my daughter is 17, Emma, and we are currently binge watching Grey's Anatomy from season 1 to current on Netflix. And we wear a face mask while we watch our Grey's Anatomy. And it's just, I mean, just a nice little, like, building some memories, right, with her. She's going to graduate high school next year, and that is I'm not going to be okay. So people just check on me next year because I'm not going to be okay.
Well, we're going to check on you before next year.
Yeah.
We'll check on you throughout the year. Just make sure that we're hitting those milestones as she completes her senior year in high school. Yeah. Okay. What is the best piece of career advice you've received from another woman?
It's kind of sad that I had to think back on this because
yikes,
for a very long time in my career, there was a competition with other women, and it wasn't helping each other and giving back. And that's why I've always wanted to be that woman, because I didn't have that woman. It wasn't until really like 5 years ago that I felt like I was working with another woman and she was my peer, or like I was working with another woman and she was my mentor. Okay. Because before that, that was not it. They were either trying to groom me and mold me in order to behave more like a man in the workplace. And this is how you can kind of, beat them at their own game, which I was not interested in. Right. Or it was competition because there was a scarcity mindset.
Absolutely. Whew. I think we all have those stories. How should individuals and communities actively participate in amplifying the voices and visibility of women beyond the month of March?
Elevate their voices in leadership, media, decision-making. Create spaces where women can be most effective and do their best work, and give them the resources to just continue to build those teams and share their ideas and make it safe.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. You said two things that were extremely important that we missed: creating the opportunities and then providing the resources. I love that. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
So I made this like the tagline of my business, which is strength in stories, power in people. And I think so much of my career is exactly that: the strength in the stories of what got me through different aspects, and then just the power in people, because there's no possibility that I could have gotten to where I have in my career without other people. Like I always say, my greatest strength is my network, and it is 100% true.
I love that. What is your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
So it's funny because I was actually listening to this song this morning. So do you know the song Remember the Name by Fort Minor? Okay. So you're going to listen to it afterwards and you're like, oh, yes, I do know this song. Probably. So the beat is everything. This song, it almost sounds like it's Eminem, but it's not. Okay. I don't know who Fort Minor is, but I know that Spotify found me this song when I was creating this playlist. But the hook of it is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, and 50% pain, and 100% that you'll remember the name. And I'm like, oh, that is it, right? That is it. And anytime I want to be hyped up, I'm like, man, that is pushing through the hard parts, showing up when it's tough, and just, it's a great song. Yeah.
Okay. So something we talked about backstage, and I'm going to call you out. I'm surprised you didn't mention one of the songs that you've written.
Okay, so I am in this like branding. What is it even called? It is
Brandon?
it's an AI powered beta program of this. Her name's Jenna Soward, I think, Soard.
Okay.
She is teaching how to basically find your voice and find your brand, but she's using all these AI tools. And one thing she shared with us was this platform. It's called Suno, Suno.com. And you can use AI to make songs. Like I made a song for the podcast.
I love it.
And it is 100% mine. So it's not like you got to worry about royalties and all that stuff. But I mean, it made the words of talking about sharing your story and your journey and what's not on your resume and all that. And it's so yeah, if somebody is going down the rabbit hole, doom scrolling, go down the rabbit hole and go make yourself like, I made a song about Emma and we were both crying and it was a whole thing.
I love it. I'm gonna go make some songs.
Go make some songs.
When I have some time, because I am one of those people who will do something obsessively for a period of time and let everything else go because, you know, that's that procrastination thing that happens with us. All right. Before we get out of here, what upcoming projects or initiatives should we be on the lookout for?
So I'm doing it scared. I have launched this podcast and it's still kind of a work in progress, but I've done one live episode. And I call it Amplify Your Signal because when somebody posts on LinkedIn or some other piece of social media and they say, I'm open to work, I'm looking for a job, whatever, people always comment underneath it and they say commenting for reach, commenting, you know, sharing it to amplify your signal and to share with my network. And so I thought, well, what other reason do we have for having these extremely large networks, you know, in social media and otherwise, if not to help other people? And so my goal with Amplify Your Signal is to put on as many platforms as possible and share the real stories of people that you're not going to get by just simply reading somebody's resume. And I really hope that it helps them to find a true match for their next career opportunity.
I love that. I rolled my eyes with the commenting for reach thing because
it's a whole thing.
I know, but you could have also shared that with someone who could help them secure their next position.
It's like share it and share them with your network and comment. It's not like an or, right? It's not like multiple choice. Like do them all.
It's the same number of clicks.
Yes.
If you only have time for 2 clicks, it's 2 clicks, repost with your thoughts.
Right.
Commenting for reach. is the thought. Okay. Yes. Oh, I forgot. Where can people find you, follow you, learn more about People Solutions Group?
So you can go to my website, which is actually a work in progress because I want a contest from the free website guys. They're redoing my website.
Yay.
Peoplesolutionsgroup.com is the website. On Twitter, I don't know if anybody's even on there anymore, but it's NRobertsHR. On LinkedIn, if you go to just the end of it, that's NRobertsHR, or you can search for Nicole Roberts. If you Google Nicole Roberts and HR, like the first thing that comes up is LinkedIn and then my website.
Yeah.
And yeah, keep an ear out for finding the Amplify Your Signal podcast when I get it figured out how to get it out on some platforms. And I really, really appreciate you having me on and letting me share my story.
Yes, I was going to say, I appreciate you coming on and letting me amplify your signal on Trap Chat for Women's History Month. And I do hope all of those who are watching will come back for the next episode. We have a great deal in store. Some phenomenal trap queens are going to be talking about redefining success all month. I will see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.